Good morning. Welcome to another episode of L-Moe's World. I'm L-Moe, and funny story how I got the name. Of course, I got a couple of topics I want to talk about, and I did say that today's video was going to be over the garden thing I've got out back of my house, and it's fun. You know, gardening is a good thing. It teaches kids, especially if you get your kids involved. Of course, you got to have your kids involved for it to teach them that. But or just a family member, it teaches them how to grow their own vegetables, and of course that makes them a little more self-sufficient, and that they're able to not necessarily rely so much on the grocery stores, because here lately, I don't know what it is, but it seems to be every week there's another case of E. coli, salmonellas in fruit. It should not be in fruit. Why? Okay, but in that plant bed, this is a raised plant bed, and I did this so that in the event that I want to move it, I've not torn up the ground in the area that it's at. I've actually put a pallet. I went and got a couple of pallets that were partially broken, and the store said I could have them, and I brought them home and then completely demolished one side of it, because you got to have a flat bottom, and of course I demolished the side that was the least damaged, and or no, the most damaged. Better demolish the side that was most damaged, so that way it had a good even surface on the bottom. And then I went and got some black plastic, put it on the ground underneath. Of course, I mowed the yard underneath, made sure that was as close to the ground as I could get. Then, like I said, put that black plastic down, and of course I put some dirt on the edges just to hold it still, because the wind was kind of blowing that day. And after that, I put those pallets down on top of it, and I went and dug some dirt. Of course, you can use potting soil if you want to, but that is a lot of potting soil. It's not that expensive, but I mean, if you got dirt and it's good dirt, why not use dirt? It's the same thing. I mean, throw some fertilizer on it every now and then, you'll be good. Just don't do too much. You can completely burn your plants up with too much fertilizer. I hear my kittens in the background. They were born a couple weeks ago. But back to that, and once you do that, especially with the dirt that I got, which you'll probably see here in the video, I'll probably throw a picture up. I don't want to say it's full red clay, because it doesn't look completely like red clay. It looks like a mixture of topsoil and red clay, but nonetheless, it can get very clumpy. And by clumpy, I mean packed, which is not good. Roots can't grow in packed stuff. So when you first put it down, you got to make sure it's pretty wet. Pretty wet. That way when it dries, it'll dry loose. And then, of course, you want to not start your plants out in it. Don't start them out in seeds in it, because by the time that you're starting them, it's going to be a early spring. You always want to start your plants in early spring, but start them in a starting tray. You can pick those up at Walmart, farm stores, wherever. Just a little tray, and you get some pot soil. You fill the little cups. I think there's like 6 to a tray. Yeah. Point is, you fill them up with pot and soil, and then you put your seeds in that, and you start it. During the nighttime, you bring it inside, and in the daytime, you take it outside so it can get the sunlight. It can get some rain if you want to throw it in the rain. Well, not throw it, but... And then, if you leave it outside overnight, you risk the chance of it frosting. And with little trays like that, immediately the roots are going to die because the trays are elevated. They're elevated off the ground. It puts them out of the ground. See, the ground so far deep is one temperature. It's one solid temperature. That's why if you dig down in the dirt, it's always cold. It's always one temperature. And if you put them in that tray, it takes them off above the ground a little bit, and like that, they're frozen. Instant death. So, like I said, you bring them inside. You take them back out during the day. They got to get the sunlight. They got to get used to the sunlight. Because if you kept them inside the whole time, you do run a major risk of burning the leaves. The leaves will get sunburned, and it happens a lot. Then once they get maybe about that big, once you feel like they're not growing as good as they could, you take them out and you go over to your pallets, and you just poke holes, squeeze the cups a little bit, and if the roots are good enough intact in there, you'll be able to squeeze it just a tad. Don't squeeze it hard, just a little bit, just to loosen the dirt. And you grab the stem and gently pull it out, and you should pull the whole cup of pot and soil out because those roots should be intertwined in there and able to hold all that dirt together. Then you just stick it down the hole and then put some dirt over it. And then when you're done, always water. That way it resets the dirt around it. It softens the dirt. And then the rest, just regular plant care. But then they'll be used to the outside. They run a lot less risk of burning or sunburning or whatnot. And then they'll be living on the nature or Mother Nature, whichever you feel like saying, to survive. That's always fun. But back to the story on E. coli and salmonella. Are we just getting careless in the world? Why is fruit getting salmonella? Why? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Of course, I know salmonella is a bacteria that can grow on anything, but it's not a meat, so it doesn't have to be slaughtered. So the question arises is, why is it sitting out so long that it's getting this? Because, chop it up, throw it in the freezer. That's all you got to do. Chop it up, throw it in the freezer. Unless it's catching it before, and I don't know if it is or not, if it's contracting it before. But then you also hear all the restaurants, they got some kind of Hep, ABC, HIV. I think I heard an old policy one time was don't ask, don't tell about STDs. And I think if you work in a food place, that should be disclosed when you have the interview. Not necessarily discriminate against you and not hire you, but at least the employers, I believe, should know. You're dealing with people's food. These employers need to know what precautions they need to take. If they see you with a sniffly nose, get off the food line. Plain and simple. Don't touch the food. Because, we've already got an outbreak enough of measles, and I don't want to get on the vaccine topic because that's enough for a whole another episode. But with these plants that I planted tomatoes, onions. Of course, they're green onions, or if you're from the north, it's scallions. Yeah, scallions or shallots. Don't ask me what part is what. I think the green part of the green onion is this scallion. And the shallot, I think, is when the green onion gets so big. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong. I have no idea. When the green onion gets so big and it starts to turn a different color, it becomes reddish. kind of like a red onion, mini red onion. And I think that's what they call the shallot. I don't know. I've always called them green onions my entire life. In Kentucky, I mean, who cares? It's a green onion, and it's good. Well, sometimes. Of course, there's a news topic today. There's a lot of evil in the world. And there was another, well, it wasn't a shooting, but it was a act of violence in a school near here. There was a person stabbed in high school student. And apparently there was only 2 students involved in this, and nobody else got hurt. It was just an altercation between these 2 students, and it was over a can of smokeless tobacco dip. When did dip become so important that you had to fight over it? Somebody wanted a pinch, and it was enough to stab somebody, or I don't know the case. I don't know the answers, so I should not go into and assume what was going on. But I mean, come on. I don't get it. Not gonna lie, I thought my microphone was on mute. Oh, that would have made for another long night. But you know, I live in a smaller county, smaller town, and we think, all this stuff that's happening, like the recent shooting in Carolinas and at the college campus. It's like, I know that all these politicians are going to say, oh, it's gun control. We need gun control. But just saying, judging by what just happened today with the stabbing and an altercation, I don't think gun control is going to stop evil. It will not stop evil. If guns are illegal, or a certain type of gun is illegal, and these people really want to do that, they're either going to get a knife or just add another charge to their crimes. They're not going to care if they're already destined for life in prison. What's a couple more months for having a weapon that's illegal going to matter? If they're already getting the death penalty where it's legal, what's a couple more months going to matter? I know we pretty far off the path from planting pallets or planting plants in pallets above the ground. But it was just some things that was on my mind. I had to talk about it. I don't know why. But I guess I felt like in this podcast that maybe I just needed to voice my opinion. But ever so often I will post an update on how those plants are doing and see if I've got the green thumb that my straight up the tree family tree ancestors had, like my grandfather. Or do I possess a black thumb that will kill them off? I have no idea. We'll find out. But until next time. No, wait. I got a few more things I could say. These pallets, wherever you get them, you might want to make sure that the stores, because I'm assuming you can't just walk down the street to the neighbors and find a pallet unless they've got them from somewhere. But just make sure the stores are okay with you taking them. Some stores charge for them, some stores don't. I fortunately found one that doesn't in the area that I live in, and I got lucky with that. But it would be a good idea to ask. Some stores might even press charges. I have no idea. But I believe, actually, I said I had a lot to say, but my mind went blank. So I guess that's going to be all for today. Thank you all for watching. I know I went way off the path of the original. I'm going to tell you how I put a pallet on the ground and put plants in it. But it is what it is. Like the video if you liked it. Comment on it. Tell me what I need to do more. Or give me suggestions for future videos. I may here in a week or so try to do a food video. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see how it goes. And subscribe for more. Hit the little bell icon to make sure that you know when I post a new video, which I'm going to shoot for at least Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. I may do one Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. This one's going to be aired on a Thursday. And that's it. Peace and God bless.